You may have seen a popular post going around Facebook about how older people are more productive than younger people. I saw it. I got excited. I agreed with it. I liked it. And like an idiot, I shared it. Here's what happened with this post and why you should stick around for the rest of this video. If we've not met before, I'm Shelley from Taming Frenzy. I recently found the most interesting post on Facebook. It talked about how that people's most productive years was in the decade from 60 to 70, and that the second most productive decade for people was the decade from 70 to 80, and that the third most productive decade was the decade from 50 to 60. In other words, us older folks are more productive than ever. I was so excited. It confirmed what I've always thought. I was a happy little clam. To say I was elated is an understatement. This was exactly the news I was anxious to hear. It confirmed my bias and my beliefs, and it made me feel great. So I decided I would share this post and share this good news with other people on Facebook. That was where I made the mistake. That was really dumb on my part. And frankly, I should have known better. However, since I do like to confirm what I'm talking about and what I'm reading and what I'm sharing, I began to do a little more digging, especially as I was getting ready to film this video. So I began looking online and began trying to find the study that was quoted in this post. I couldn't find it. I searched. I couldn't find it. I finally came across an article from Snopes about this very topic, and apparently the folks there had contacted the New England Journal of Medicine, where this study had supposedly been published, and the New England Journal of Medicine said they didn't have any record of such a study ever existing. Nor could they find any other studies that backed up that claim. You talk about a downer. However, I still think this topic of productivity in older people is a topic worth discussing, whether there's large-scale data to back it up or not. Hear me out. Ultimately, all productivity really is personal productivity. It really doesn't matter one bit how productive someone else is or what the people in a particular age bracket tend to be. All it really matters is our personal productivity. So that then got me to thinking about the issue of quality versus quantity. Which is more important? Now, any of us are capable of doing a lot of tasks. Most of us have the physical and mental ability to do things very quickly that we are very familiar with and have done many, many, many times. And some people are so good at some tasks that they can do them much more efficiently than other people can. But is mere efficiency the same thing as productivity? I would argue that true productivity means making progress towards the completion of a goal or a particular activity. And for that, we generally want quality. We want those tasks or those steps to be done well. Now, before you write me off, hear me out. Let's say my particular goal is to write a book. Now, I happen to type very fast. I can get a lot of words on the page very quickly thanks to typing classes in high school and thanks to 12 years of piano. My fingers move and I can type almost as fast as I can talk. But just because I can produce a lot of pages doesn't mean that the words I put on those pages are worth reading. It doesn't mean that the story I might be writing makes any sense or is any good. I may have just written a lot of nonsense and wasted a whole lot of paper. So just being able to type quickly does not mean that I would quickly be able to write a quality story that somebody would want to read. Mere quantity is not an indicator of quality. So when we're thinking about productivity, we need to think about the end result. What does a quality product or quality completion look like? What does the end goal look like? What is the performance level or the standard that we're aiming for? But once we know that, we might have an advantage over our younger counterparts, because that's where patience, persistence, grit, determination, that's where qualities like that come in. Those are the building blocks of productivity, not merely how quickly you can do something, but how well you can do something. However, let's be honest, there is a time component in productivity. Back to the book example. I don't know that I could call myself productive if I wrote a page on a story today. And then I waited in a couple of months, I wrote one more page. And then maybe in another 6 months, I wrote one more page. I don't think anyone could call that being very productive towards the goal of writing a book, simply because it is taking forever to achieve it. I used to have a little sign taped to the top of my laptop that said, be patient, be persistent, be consistent. Because consistency is part of the productivity equation. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to work on something every minute of every day. It doesn't even mean you have to work on something every single day. Life does get in the way, let's face it. But it does mean that you have to work on something regularly. If I want to write a book, I can't go weeks or months between time. But if I want to write a book, I can set some time to work on it regularly, even if it's not every single day. But I can work on it regularly several times a week to make progress towards completing that project. Now, would it be great to be able to do something well and do it quickly? Yeah, that'd be awesome. There are people who are capable of that kind of output. For example, there are authors who can write a book in a couple of weeks. There are authors who put out multiple books during a year. Those people are capable of quality and quantity, but I'm not sure that that's an ability that has any correlation to age. But if you find evidence either way, I would love to hear it. I'm always open to hearing new evidence and learning something new, and I definitely learned a lesson to not share something that I have not checked out beforehand, because there's a really good chance that it's false. I hope you'll watch the rest of the videos in this series on setting a course, and also subscribe to this channel. And until next time, let's all tame some frenzy.